Ghana Armed Forces and Police Service deny contracted land guards to reclaim their official lands. Also coming up, Railway Minister John Peter Amewu to appear before Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament to answer questions on payment of $2 million to South African company for SkyTrain project in Accra. Also in the bulletin, World Bank urges government to implement emergency energy action plan to address serious energy sector challenges. And on the international front, millions will pay the price of Russia's grain deal exit, UN chief has said. Details of these stories and more coming up shortly. Please do stay with us. Well, in our first story, the Ghana Armed Forces and the Police Service have both denied media reports that the two security agencies engaged the services of land guards to reclaim and protect their lands. Now, according to the Armed Forces, it is unimaginable that GAF cannot protect its own lands and indulge in an illegality by relying on the services of land guards, a prescribed activity. They describe as regrettable the allegations made by the Chief Director of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Professor Patrick Agbesinali, and are repeated by MP for Tamale South, Alhassan Suhini. Now, the Police Service, on the other hand, described the statement as false and baseless and unfounded and should be treated with contempt it deserves. The police say that rather, they have intensified anti-land guard operations in communities affected by activities of these land guards. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources had earlier denied the claims that state lands have over the years been reclaimed by a private company after the portion of the reclaimed lands are given to individuals as payments. Now, the Lands Ministry has denied contracting land guards to reclaim state lands. The Chief Director of the ministry, appearing before the Public Accounts Committee, revealed that a private company has helped the ministry to retrieve lands for its allied agencies and had been properly compensated. A report by Komla Kluche.
That land for us. And out of that land, we gave you 50 acres. 50 out of 6,000. 50. So 6,000 acres reclaimed, he gets 50 acres as payment for all his expenses. So he has a right to go and sell that 50. If he's selling it, then there's noise all over the place. Hey, Jatu has, he doesn't even sell it. He also gives it out for people to develop so that he gets his share.
That's the voice of the Chief Director of the Lands Ministry, Professor Patrick Agbesinali, before Parliament's Committee on Lands and Forestry on July 10, 2023. In the said interaction between the Chief Director and the members of the committee, there were very deep revelations.
And I can give you a long, tall list of litany of lists of lands that Jato has cleared for us. To the extent that, Chairman, to the extent that even the military, even the Ghana Armed Forces, there are lands that have been encroached by people. They hire Jato to reclaim for them. The Ghana police, in particular, Jato reclaims their land for them.
Questions are beginning to emerge on the circumstances surrounding the contract between the state and Aniok Holdings Limited that does the retrieval of state lands.
So I remember that during the reclaiming process, 3 people lost their lives. There was gunshots, exchange of fire. 3 people lost their lives there. Except that, Jato has a section of the media on his side who don't cover all this.
What was again scandalous was the revelation by the Chief Director that this person that is engaged actually has a setup that the state cannot compete with. He has his own members of the judiciary, and so he gets away with whatever law he may have broken in the process of retrieving and protecting land. He has his own security that he deploys on these lands when he retrieves them.
But an incensed minority says the alleged engagement of the supposed land guards when the Vigilante and Related Offences Law of 2019 clearly is averse to it must be probed by the legislature. Professor Agbesinyale, in a statement, says the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources does not contract the services of land guards in its operations. However, the ministry through its agencies, the Lands Commission, legally engaged the services of New Holding Limited, a registered limited liability company, to assist in reclaiming encroached government lands. This engagement has been in effect since 2012. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, you hear the report by Komla Kluche that led to the update from the police as well. Now let's move on to some stories on education. And first-year senior high school students continue to wear mufti 2 weeks to the end of the second term. Now this is because the institutional suppliers say they are unable to procure and sew the prescribed uniforms due to the unrealistic rates given them. They have thereby given government a 14-day ultimatum to address their concerns and pay their outstanding arrears.
Ideally, the prescribed uniforms should have been ready 2 weeks into the first term. But heads of senior high schools and colleges of education are yet to receive their consignments from the institutional suppliers made up of garment producers, fashion designers, seamstresses, tailors, stationery dealers.
Formerly, it was 2 knickers, 2 shirts for the school uniform. Now, government is saying we should sew 1 knicker, 1 trouser, then 2 uniforms. The same price. We think that this one cannot be done. It is highly impossible under this current economic situation. So they should give us 150 cedis for a set. I think it will be cool with us and we can actually work on time. The first is, as we speak, they are in their second term, but they don't have uniforms. So as a matter of urgency, something should be done.
The group say they are also owed arrears since 2021.
We have arrears of 2022-2023 academic year, and now we are about to enter into another academic year. Even some members have not been paid in 2021-2022 academic year, which is very bad. All the capitals that they injected in it has depleted, and we really want government to do something about this.
According to the group, they risk losing their businesses they have nurtured many years before the free SHS policy.
Let's stay on education now, and government has rescheduled payment to aggrieved national food suppliers of senior high schools. The association has warned it would accept full payment on the rescheduled date or will resume picketing.
Our members gathered at the premises of Buffer Stock as early as 6:30 this morning. They were there till 2 o'clock, where they were called by the CEO, the chief executive of Buffer Stock. And in that engagement, the CEO told them that there's no money.
The association has described as unfortunate and offensive comment passed by the CEO of the National Food Buffer Stock Company that the association is not recognized, but individual members.
We are not asking Buffer Stock to pay a check into the account of the association. We are asking Buffer Stock to pay the individual checks they have been promising for the past 2 years. Members were not happy for that responses that the CEO gave to its members.
Should government fail to pay them in full, they intend to resume picketing, but this time round with families, dependents and creditors.
That we are expecting full settlement of our money because our money has been long overdue. Interests have accumulated. Banks are on us to take our properties. Members are languishing in abject poverty. We can no longer accept a meager payment in settlement of the full. We are here to take the full payment, and we are interested in the full payment, without which we will not budge, but we will resume our picketing right after Thursday.
Government owes the suppliers totaling 300 in excess of 270 million cedis.
Now, away from that, the Ghana Infrastructural Investment Fund has admitted paying $2 million to a South African company for the construction of a SkyTrain in Accra, despite claims by the minority that the project did not receive requisite procurement approvals, the fund insists it is viable and in the interest of the state.
In November 2019, at the Africa Investment Forum in Johannesburg, Ghana signed an agreement with a South African company for a train project that would be built above the ground. The train tracks were to be 194 kilometers long and transport nearly 400,000 passengers yearly within Greater Accra. Also, the $2 million project was estimated to create some 5,000 jobs throughout its construction period. In September 2022, the minority called on the Auditor General to invoke its constitutional powers and call for the prosecution of the board and management of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund for the payment of the $2 million for the project. It has reiterated how reckless the project is and demanded an investigation into what it terms as losses incurred by the state.
When you have a situation where the minister then says in 2023 now that he always believed that before the project takes off, there should be a cabinet approval, there should be a parliamentary approval, PPA approval. What was the reason for government to act in the way to give out $2 million? Who actually took the decision to pay this entity in Mauritius in terms of the so-called feasibility?
A 2021 Auditor General report stated that the Africa Investor Consortium Holdings was yet to obtain a license to operate in the country. The minority even claims feasibility studies had not been undertaken as of the time the payment was made. The Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund has been reacting to these claims.
There was an initial feasibility study that was done by the original consortium to prove the concept of this. They then engaged with the Ministry of Railways and the Government of Ghana, and the Government of Ghana suggested to them that there should be a Ghanaian local partner as part of the consortium because this project was going to be done in Ghana. And at that time, we reviewed all of the work that had been done. We hired our own consultants, technical consultants, commercial consultants, financial consultants to review all the work done, and we were satisfied that this was potentially a viable project, and that is why we entered into the project at that time.
Let's do some stories on health now. The legislative arm of government is primarily responsible for lawmaking. Increasingly, it is becoming what some analysts describe as an investment avenue for upcoming politicians in their bid to climb up the ladder. With the primaries of the ruling party picking up pace, my colleague Eric Mawina Ebeta has been looking at the new faces within the government seeking to enter parliament.
Elections 2024 may be more than a year away, but the fever pitch season is already being felt from across the length and breadth of the country. The latest being the opening of nominations for orphan constituencies of the governing New Patriotic Party. Of particular interest, though, is a seeming attempt by some members within the current executive to switch to become legislators. Notable among the lot, Director of Communications at the Presidency, Eugene Ahe, for the Awutu Senya West constituency. Director of Operations at the Presidency, Lord Comey, who will face off with Deputy Communications Director also at the Presidency for the Ablekuma Central constituency. Other names like Kofi Owusu-Nkansah of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program and the CEO of the National Youth Authority, Pius Enam Hajide. For political science professor, Professor Edu Jemfi, the motive for seats in Parliament ought to be questioned.
What is quite worrying is that we have a certain kind of trend that suggests that such individuals are always interested in securing their own future in a way that seems to satisfy their personal aggrandizement.
For Deputy Tourism Minister and aspirant for the Ayensuano constituency, however, development is the ultimate motive.
My entrepreneurship is not gone. It is still up here. The family business is still waiting for me. But so it is not because I'm looking for a job after this place. No. I am sure if it hadn't been politics, I would have become one of the hottest people still in radio. I managed Hit FM before I came here. And so I still have the skill to do business, skill to manage.
He insists his intentions to contest the seat alone is already bringing the constituency the needed limelight for development.
I think that there will be nothing wrong if the MPP party decides that leadership would want to support the youth to take over. Because I think that if we do not even do some of those decisions now and have a clear plan, our party will struggle in future.
The new faces keep springing up. The final decision, though, will lie with the respective delegates as to who best serves their interest.
Now, away from politics, the founder and head of the Lapis Aid Board, Reverend Father Andrew Campbell, has urged Ghanaians to help cure Lapis and the socially excluded. He said that the committee could no longer provide for the welfare and medical needs of the cured Lapis without external support.
Ghana has 6 leprosaria spread across 6 regions with a current inmate population of 1,195. The Weja Leprosarium in the Greater Accra region is regarded as the headquarters and has 25 residents, including a 3-year-old baby. The government social intervention package for 30 cedis per month or 1 cedi a day per inmate has compelled these cured lepers to continue to beg for alms towards their daily welfare and healthcare needs. Not even the establishment of the Lapis AIDS Committee by Reverend Andrew Campbell over 3 decades ago is able to reduce the plight of cured lepers in Ghana. This is because not much public support has been given to the goal of the committee. The cured lepers are always and only rarely remembered on occasions by a few groups and individuals.
For the past years, we've been helping Ho, Kokofu, Nkachina, Wa, and Ankofu, and letting them know when they know this, touch their hands and touch their heart and touch their pocket. We must help them. Those of us who are well, those of us who are strong, those of us who have something, we must share it with others. God has given all of us gifts, so we can easily share it with others. It might be just something small or something big, whatever it might be, you know, because Mother Teresa was asked once, but what you're doing is like a drop of water in the ocean. And Mother Teresa says, the ocean is better off for that drop of water.
The constitution of the Lapis Aid Board and Council of Co-workers and Friends is to help change the narrative.
Now that we have this group together, we'll be meeting together and planning in the future. What can we do? With the friends and co-workers, we'll have our general meeting soon, and we'll see the way for what can we do to touch people's lives and be able to help them. Every Christmas we have a concert, so we'll be organizing our concert and to get more and more people to come and donate and let people know what is happening, because many people don't even know a time that Weja Leprosarium exists. They don't know. They don't know that every year over 250 new cases of leprosy in Ghana. They don't know that.
Reverend Father Andrew Campbell urged all to be everyone's keeper, irrespective of social, political, and religious status.
Now, on the foreign front, the UN Secretary General says Russia's decision to exit a grain deal with Ukraine will strike a blow to people in need everywhere. Antonio Guterres says he deeply regrets Russia's confirmation that it will not extend the Black Sea grain export deal, which expires tonight. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Kyiv is prepared to continue the deal even without Russia's participation. Earlier, Russia blamed Ukraine for attacking the Crimea Bridge, which links the occupied peninsula to Russia. It also claims the attack involved the direct participation of American and British intelligence and politicians. The attack happened early on Monday morning. 2 Russians going on a family holiday were killed. And that's all for the 6 a.m. news here on TV3. My name is Judith Awoche Tando, and of course, Roland Walker and Bella Mundi are here with me in the studio with the rest of New Day.